Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so excited for this new segment. My name is Voodoo Val, and I'm going to be hosting yet another segment for the first day kickoff of Adobe Max. It's a pretty fun time. I'm joined here by my good friend, Kathleen Martin. Kathleen, how are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm great, Val. It's awesome to see your lovely face and everybody in
Yes.
the chat.
Good to see you as well. And we do have a lot of friends in the chat. I'm seeing so many people. I see Cody Bear, the one and only. We got Laura, we got Ashraful, we got Kara, Heidi, Jan Eric, Wade, Francisco, all of our good friends. So thank you for being here. I hope if you're over on YouTube or any place, come here and chat with us. If you have any, wherever you're at though, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat because I will get them to Kathleen as we go along. And yeah, so why don't you do a quick intro of you? Let us know who you are, Kathleen, and what are you going to be working on today?
Sure. It's awesome to see everybody. Like I said, I'm Kathleen Martin. I have been doing live streams at Adobe for a very long time, but in my daytime hours, I'm also an associate creative director at Adobe as well as an illustrator. So you can see kind of what that means on the screen right now, some of my work. I never really realized how colorful my work was, but there you go.
It is very colorful. I'm loving it.
Right. And it's funny, usually I wear all black, but I think my work kind of has a more colorful side. So
that's the land I live in. Yes.
There you go. Yes. Land of the Siths. Yeah. Paco, the self-portraits. I have a lot of fun doing those. So one of the things I focus on while I am working with Adobe is creating instructional content, so tutorials and that kind of thing. And my real love language for those is in the drawing and painting sphere. So with Illustrator and Photoshop and Fresco. So we're going to be going over some of the new features that were just dropped today for drawing and painting, specifically in Illustrator and Photoshop. And I know a lot of people are also excited about Fresco. I don't think we're going to have enough time to go over Fresco today, just because it's only 25 minutes and there's so much awesomeness. So make sure that you come back tomorrow for Kyle Webster's Fresco stream. He's going to go over it. And I think he's kind of the best person to do it because he's kind of the king of Fresco.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was, if he hasn't been elected as the king of Fresco, I think he's just automatically that in our hearts.
Exactly. Totally. So we're going to be jumping back and forth between iPad and desktop today, like I said, specifically for Illustrator and Photoshop. And we can start with Photoshop on the desktop, I think. Yes. And people in chat, if you have any questions about these new features while I'm going over them, please put them in the chat. We can send you links in the case that I can't answer something specific about a new feature that was released today. But this is really all about, as an illustrator, what new features will I actually use in my specific workflows. So I'm going to go over probably like a fourth of the new features that actually were launched, but these are the ones that I think are just super rad.
Ooh, let's get into it. This is going to be cool because we get to kind of see an application of them, and I'm pumped for this.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of your illustrations, so this is like fangirl moment for me. Let's go.
It is reciprocal. You're going to notice, y'all, that there's a lot of vases in today's stream. I love a good vessel. I don't know what it is. I love a good crock, even a good urn. I'll take an urn any day.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, so all of my work is going to... A chalice is good, or a goblet of sorts. We're going to start with a vase, or maybe it's not a vase, perhaps. And we're going to jump first into the new object selection kind of functionality in Photoshop on the desktop. So in the most recent updates of Photoshop, there have been updates to this object selection tool where you can drag your cursor around an object, even in a complex scene, and it will select specific items for you, either the subject or whatever you highlight. In this new version, I can just hover over an item and it says, hey, this looks like an object. You want me to select it for you? Which is amazing. So I could even hover over here on these little rhinestone stickers that I have on here. Do you want me to select the moon? Maybe the star? It's there's something magic about seeing it done right in front of your eyes. I don't know what it is, but
it's pretty great. I think that's going to be the one that is most integrated into my main workflow, to be perfectly honest. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it doesn't just work for photography. Here you can see that this is an illustration, and I can just go ahead and click and it will select the vase for me. I'm going to deselect for now though, and jump into the next kind of really cool functionality that is a little nerdier, I would say. This is all about the updates that Photoshop got for gradients today. So I'm going to go ahead and select my vase shape, and I'm going to draw a gradient. So I'm going to go over to my gradient tool. Just need to drag this down really quick. Cool. So I have just a classic orange to blue gradient already selected. And in previous versions of Photoshop, if I were to draw a gradient with 2 complementary colors, that is not correct. There we go. Go to normal mode. If I were to do a gradient with 2 complementary colors, the in-between between these 2 colors is going to be kind of brown and gray and not very vibrant, because complementary colors create that. They create basically a muddled mess in the in-between. So with these new options that we have perceptual, which I will change it to right now. And this mimics how the human eye actually sees light and when colors are connected. So you'll see it's a lot more vibrant, it's a little more pastel. Or I can go to linear, and this is actually how Illustrator has built their gradients for a while now. And this one is my favorite. It's just a little more chromatic and pretty.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So this is one of those small tweaks that's a little bit nerdy that like maybe not everyone will use, but as someone who has very colorful work, it's important that my colors look as good as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this, although it is just a little tweak.
No, I love it, because you're right. There is that, like when it mixes the colors, true, then there is going to be that brown, but this kind of gives you this nice vibrancy to everything. So you don't have to worry about that. I love it.
Yeah, people are saying this is a game changer, and that just makes me so happy that there are some fellow color nerds out there watching.
Yes, we also have comments that Kyle is the Fresh Prince of Fresco, and I agree. I could not agree more.
Isn't that a little redundant? He's the Fresco Prince of Fresco.
The Fresco Prince of Fresco. This is true. That's true. Yeah, I'm loving it. What else do we got?
Cool. So this is all I'm going to go over for Photoshop on the desktop. But like I said, there's a ton of options. So if you want to, you can open up this magnifying icon in the corner, and that's going to open up the Discover panel for you.
Yes.
And that's going to either take you to tutorials that are going to walk you through step by step, or you can click what's new, and you'll get a little update on everything that was just updated for Photoshop.
Yes, that's my go-to anytime there's an update, and it should be for you too. Hit that what's new button and it'll literally show you everything. So if you're wondering what is everything in Photoshop for today, or whichever app is your favorite, go there and it'll tell you.
Yes, 100%. All right, let's jump out of Photoshop now, and let's actually go over to my iPad.
Let's do it.
Very exciting. So I'm going to swoop on over here. Thank you, Jacob. And we're going to just be working in Illustrator on the iPad today. There are also updates for Photoshop on the iPad, but they're honestly geared a little bit more towards photography, I feel, and graphic design. So I think there's going to be some other awesome streams that will cover those updates. But Illustrator has some really game-changing stuff happening today specifically, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So we're going to be covering vectorizing in Illustrator on the iPad. We're going to be covering the blend tool, which is amazing. We can make our own brushes now. So let's go ahead and do all of those things.
The brushes, show me, please show me.
All right, so I just have a simple greeting card design here featuring, again, a vase that I actually used this functionality to create, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
So let's move on over here and let's add these flowers in. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab an image from my photos. I'm going to go to my albums, perhaps. There we go. Recents. Ignore the Magikarp that you just saw.
I zoned in on it, and I like you more now.
Good.
So
everybody's got to have a Magikarp on their iPad for some reason.
Honestly, I've got several pumpkaboos in my camera roll, so don't worry.
Great. So you'll notice right when I import this image, vectorizing pops up. If you're familiar with Illustrator on the desktop, this is similar to image trace, but it's actually using AI. So it's using like the same technology that the 3D tools use. So it's super cool. Very, you can really get nitty gritty with it. So I'll show you what I mean instead of telling you what I mean. We are going to turn these flowers into vector objects so that we can scale them infinitely. We can remove the white. We can use them in our illustrations. So the way that you do this is with the image selected, you're going to come down here to this new icon that says vectorize.
Okay.
And this honestly might take a second because maybe, there we go.
Well, we do have some questions in the chat too,
okay, cool.
if it might take a little while. So we have asked, are these new gradients emulating how LAB colors work? And can linear gradients be added to CC libraries as a swatch? I don't know that you can do gradient, because in my swatches you just have your colors, but I have always only saved gradients in my gradients panel. So
I think we might have lost Val for a moment, unless you lost me. Okay, cool. So while we are talking about those gradient swatches and wait for Val to come back, we're going to keep talking about vector objects. So you'll see that if I zoom in here, it's a really detailed vector image of this flower. That was a raster image, which basically just means it was made of pixels, which basically just means if I were to zoom in on it, it'd be really pixelated. But if I zoom in on here, we can go infinite. We're not going to, because that might be a little scary, a little metaphysical. So we're going to zoom back out. Awesome, Jess. Thank you. And then we are going to remove the white background so that we can use this in our vase. I'm going to scroll on down. We're going to click ignore white. Processing. Sometimes you need a little time to process. Epic freeze, Val. All right, there we go. Now we have no white background. I'm going to go ahead and expand this so that we can use it as a graphic. You see all those little paths in there. We'll resize it. I can hold my little touch shortcut so that it is not constrained. Go ahead and move it over a bit. And then we can put it to the bottom of our layer stack. Boom. Looking good? We got some technical issues going on, folks. Stick with us. We'll be back in 5 seconds. Stick around.
Alrighty. I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. All right. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. The colors there were getting too amazing, and it just threw me right out of the stream.
We yeeted you right out.
Yeah.
Well, all you missed was some processing and some vector flowers. So
okay. All right.
There you go. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you. Okay, so we have our vector flowers looking good. They are in our vase. Now, what if we wanted to add more flowers to this and maybe add a little bit of a doodly texture, perhaps? Well, we can drag some images in from a library. I've got some more beautiful pressed flowers here. Go ahead and import that. I can flatten things. We'll just do a smart object. There we go. Looks good. And we'll add one more. And then I will show you how to make a nice doodly brush. If you know me, you know I'm so pumped for this. Doodly brush.
Also, we have Dorina saying Val experimented with content-aware fill on herself. And this is, yes, that is what happened.
Always willing to take one for the team.
Got to get those new features to you guys stat. So.
So I'm going to go ahead and select this little sketch I made with a vector pencil brush, which is also available in Illustrator on the iPad today. There's a lot of really beautiful paint brushes available. I'm going to go to my pencil tool. I'm going to select paintbrush and I'm going to click this plus button, and that's going to allow me to make my own art brush in Illustrator on the iPad. Pretty amazing.
Wow.
So one thing that I always forget to do, and this is a little bit of a hot tip, is to make sure that you change your colorization method to tints or tints and shades, something that is not none, because if you do none, then your brush is only going to be allowed to be black. We want to add a little bit of color in here. So with my new brush selected and a nice kind of sage green selected, let's go ahead and draw with our new brush. Now you'll see that I drew it upside down. So let's undo that and draw it in the right direction.
Wow.
There we go. I could add a couple more sprigs in here. I'm feeling a little festive.
Oh my gosh. And you can even like make it longer and oh, how cool is that?
Yeah. Really cool. I even made almost like a little bit of a texture brush just with these little shapes over here, you can see. So let's go ahead and jump over to that. See if it's still in here. Yep. And I use these just almost like a little fun flourish you can add around your shapes.
Oh, yes.
Super cute. Add a little bit of texture. I'm all about that texture.
Me too, girl. Me too. This is amazing. Totally. I love it.
Gus says, I use one brush when you can, have them all.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
All right, last little tidbit we're going to go over for Illustrator on the iPad is the blend tool. Now, if you know anything about the blend tool in Illustrator on desktop, basically you can create a really smooth gradient between two shapes. I'll just show you instead of telling you because I think that makes a little more sense and it's a little more exciting. So I have these two vertical curvy white pencil lines, and I want to create almost like a curved contour texture around my vase. So let's go ahead and select one, use my touch shortcut, select the other one, and we are going to move over to our repeat options. And now there's a beautiful new option at the bottom called blend.
Yeah.
Magic.
What? What?
I know it. So I'm going to decrease the number of strokes in between a little bit just by sliding on this little widget. Looks nice. I can zoom out and we have a nice little secondary texture going on.
But the thing is it totally like shaped those around. So it started changing how domed that line was and gave you the, that is wonderful. I'm using that ASAP.
Yes, that's the goal. Annika, yes, you can save the brushes to CC libraries, or you can just save them to your specific documents pretty easily too.
Amazing.
Yes, and if you want to learn what else we have for Illustrator on the iPad for this update, go ahead and update it on your own iPad and you'll get a nice little preview of all the tools and how to use them.
Awesome. And then Jan Eric was wondering, do we have the new image trace AI on desktop also? Is that something that is unique to Illustrator on the iPad?
You know, I'm not sure if it's only for the iPad right now. There are new 3D tools on the desktop, and I know they share similar AI, which we're going to talk about actually in like 15 seconds.
Yes.
So Jan, that might be the case, but I'm not totally sure. If not right now, then probably very soon. Alrighty, awesome. One last thing before jumping into Illustrator on the desktop is I could share this to my desktop right now, or I can also share this for commenting. So maybe I'm working with a freelance client who I'm designing these greeting cards for. I can invite them. They can leave comments for me. I'll see them in real time. And it's a pretty cool collaborative feature that as a creative director, I'm constantly leaving feedback on work and asking people to tweak things. So this is amazing.
Yes.
Alex, we are going to be jumping into Illustrator right now.
Yes.
So let me pop on over there. This is the one that I was most excited for. And I have the most things to show off. So hopefully I can get through them in the next, 6 minutes that we have left.
Beautiful. I do love the vases, the in style.
I told
vessels.
You.
This is, you are not playing around. This is great.
Right. And this is actually kind of a little bit of a cheat because I show you this one to say that this is the kind of stuff that we're used to seeing on Illustrator, very flat vectory imagery. Pardon me while I put my iPad down. But what if I told you that you could also make 3D illustrations in Illustrator now?
Ooh,
what?
That looks so good.
Does it make your brain melt like this psychedelic vase of flowers makes your brain melt a little bit?
I'm so pumped. Please tell us more.
And one thing that I'm really impressed by is how this is not making my computer melt right now. There's like so many 3D effects going on right now, but my computer's doing so well. I'm so proud of them. So good. So let me just tell you a little bit about these new 3D functionalities and tools in Illustrator. I have my 3D and materials window or panel open, and you can open that yourself by going to window and then choosing 3D. And this feels really similar to Substance Painter and Substance Materials, which Adobe has under its wide umbrella of apps and tools. And that's because they're using similar functionalities. And actually the materials that you see here are a curated list of actual 3D materials from Substance. So they are fully designed, fully editable, and there's quite a few to choose from, which is pretty cool. This is a kind of smaller cohort or collection of them, and if you want more, you can always go and use Substance, but this is a great place to get started. But anyways, before that, I think that we should add one more little 3D shape in here to show you how it is all done.
Yes, please.
So we need to add a little
freaking out in chat. So yes, we are ready for it.
So cute. So we're going to add one more little celestial body up in the sky here. I'm going to go ahead and select my shape, and we're going to go to object, and I can choose my different 3D types here. So I could do inflate, and that gives it a little bit of a 3D depth. I could do extrude, and if I change my angle, you can see that it twists around in space. But we're just going to go for inflate here. Let's make sure to turn this back to 0 so it looks like it's really floating up there and is an actual sphere. And in my materials, I really like these marble paint texture. Maybe it's the 90s or Y2K kid in me, but
I love it.
Awesome. Yeah, Cody says, fun circle friend. I agree. And in here, like I said, we have full editing capabilities. So even mixing the custom paint colors, maybe I want to go something a little more royal blue. It makes that update in real time. I can change how the pattern is. I can change the intensity of the warp. That's awesome. So I can zoom on out, and you'll see that there are other edits and other options available. So for example, I could revolve an extrusion. I could just straight up extrude it like an isometric plane. I can add a cool plaster texture to a flat object. The opportunities are literally endless.
I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. This is awesome.
If you've never dabbled into 3D work, this is just a great way to kind of dip a toe in to see if your art style kind of meshes with it. I never thought that mine would, but then I created these flower friends and I was like, okay, I'm sold. Yes.
We have a lot of people asking about like 3D materials and all that stuff and where you can find them. And I think you have a panel here open where they can access stuff, but I think that we have some links that we can post in chat for more information on materials that are available and how that works. We also have Wade coming in with the what's new in Illustrator. So if you folks wanted to take a closer look at some of these and maybe get some information on how you can locate those yourself, if you want to test them out, please go and do that. Check out the nitty-gritty details. And you can also come back and rewatch this. So you can watch us go through things at a later date. So
yes, I know this was so much to go through in just 25 minutes. And this last example is just more 3D effects, but focusing on extrusion. So that's just like pulling a flat object to be three-dimensional. So I thought this kind of shooting star vibe through the vase might be kind of weird and cool. That's the vibe of this entire stream, I think, is weird and cool.
Yes.
Yes. And we've also integrated that sharing for commenting into Illustrator on desktop as well. So I can go ahead and add a collaborator up here, say I want to share it with my art director and say, what do you think? And they'll say, this was too weird. Sorry, you need to redo it. And I'll say, okay, it's that easy. So yeah, chat, let us know if you have any additional questions. There's a lot of more awesome streams coming up right after me. And if you want specifically more information about the 3D stuff, I think Gus mentioned that there's another stream focusing on like substance and materials tomorrow.
There is indeed.
Yeah, these are available in Illustrator today. There's quite a few to play with.
We've got some Mercurial was asking if you can replace the spline in the AI iPad blend. And so for Illustrator on iPad, when you're doing that blend, can you edit that spline or?
I think you can. Actually, I was playing with it yesterday and it wasn't working with the specific design I was doing, but I did see that option.
Amazing. A lot of people were asking questions specifically about like, what does my CPU need to be like and all this stuff. And I think that those are more technical things that you can get through some of the helpful links that we have, because that's going to be specific to everybody. But a lot of people just screaming OMG. We have people going, whoa, people going, this is amazing. And then we just have Viola, I think, who was just like, stop.
It's too much. It's too much.
It's so good. So yeah, this has been amazing. I am so thrilled. I cannot wait to create. Thank you very much for showing us all of this. I think we are coming to the end of our session here. Sorry about the content aware Phil and throwing myself, just being yeeted out of the stream. Kathleen brought the heat with the design today, and it was too much. Kathleen, where can folks find you on the web? Where is a good place to see your work and maybe send you a nice message if they want to?
Thank you. I think the best place to find me currently is Instagram. I'm kind of Kathleen Illustrated everywhere on the internet, but that's where I post most often and most frequently. So get your updates there. I'm always posting new and weird workflows you can do in Photoshop and Illustrator. So if you like to see Adobe apps and the kind of cool stuff they can do, I highly recommend checking out my stuff.
Please do, everyone. She is amazing. I'm a fan of hers. She is awesome. And yeah, until next time, everyone give her a follow, and we will see you another day, folks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice Max.
Bye.